20s. That's why you never heard of him. There was like 10 teams in the league, and no black people or Spanish people in the league. Uh, he's comparing Jeter to Randolph, who had 13 seasons as a Yankee compared to 20, and this is WAR per season average. So obviously, as Jeter's career goes on, he's going to deteriorate a little bit. Meanwhile, Randolph played his prime years as a Yankee for 13 years and barely edges out Jeter. And then Messina has 8 years as a Yankee, and according to WAR, is better than Derek Jeter. And the funniest part about all of this is, did you notice that Mariano Rivera was not on this WAR list at all? So, according to WAR, Mariano Rivera is not one of the best Yankees of all time. If that doesn't show you how flawed and far from perfect this stat is, I don't know what will. I'll repeat myself. Mariano Rivera was not on this list.
You don't know who Red Ruffing was, do you? Pitcher who also pinch hit, ERA plus of 119 during the slugging 1930s, completed 261 starts through 40 shutouts, 8 times in the top 10 in fielding independent pitching, started 10 games in the World Series, Yankees won 7 of them. He didn't get a farewell tour either. But back to Jeter, what about the extraordinary length of his career? That has to mean something, right? Jeter's only the 19th guy ever to come to the plate 12,000 times or more. That's longevity. And where does he rank among that special peer group? 13th out of those 19 in slugging, 14th out of 19 in OPS, 12th out of 19 in homers, tied for 13th out of the 19 in triples, 14th out of 19 in doubles, tied for 14th in RBI. Does he lead this group in anything? Yes. Out of all 19, he struck out the most.
You gotta love the little tactics he uses here, where he just lists the stats Jeter doesn't rank amazingly high on, but completely skips the ones where he does rank high on, like hits, stolen bases, runs. What was it? On of those eligible players, or 18 eligible players, he's fifth in hits. But once again, if you're not first, you're last. So if you have less hits than Pete Rose and Stan Musial, then you're just a bum. What was he? Eighth in runs and sixth in stolen bases. But if you don't have more stolen bases than Ricky Henderson, it's worthless. What are you even playing baseball for, bro?
Anything on defense we can hold on to? Not really, no. Defensive wins above replacement? He has defensive losses below replacement. 17 seasons in negative numbers, a total career defensive WAR of minus 9.4. That's the worst of all shortstops since 1900. A dozen years now since they started tracking defensive runs saved. He's 156 in the hole, twice as bad as any other shortstop just in that span.
Once again, the defensive stats are just, they're not worthless, but, they don't mean everything. Jeter's never been like a league leader in errors or anything. And once again, I'll mention what Olbermann did not mention: 5 Gold Gloves. 5.
What about all those World Series wins? You mean the 4 in his first 5 full years? Which means that if you believe he led the Yankees to those wins and it wasn't Paul O'Neill or Tino Martinez or Bernie Williams or maybe the whole team, in the last 14 years of his career, Jeter led the Yankees to 1 World Series win. He's 1 for 14.
What you just witnessed here was him just disregard the first 4 World Series because I don't know what he said, because Bernie Williams and Paul O'Neill were on the team. So and Jeter was young, so he's not. So you just don't count those 4 World Series, and then you smugly laugh at the 1 World Series he won in 14 years. I just want to read a list I wrote down real quick. Barry Bonds, Ralph Kiner, Don Mattingly, Ryan Sandberg, Robin Yount, Harmon Killebrew, Rod Carew, Carl Yastrzemski, a lot of Jews, Tony Gwynn, Ken Griffey Jr., Ernie Banks, Ty Cobb, Ted Williams. Never won a World Series, but, let's just watch Olbermann just swarmily and smugly laugh about, just the 1, even though he won 5, but he somehow turned it into 1. Yeah. Let's chuckle about that.
Do we need to talk about this season? 54 points below his career batting average, 73 below his career on base percentage, 127 below his career slugging percentage, and he's still batting second. Even with that splurge over the weekend, a slash line of 211, 246, 283 since August 1st. As Buster Olney calculated, that's the 8th worst OPS by a Yankee with 600 plate appearances since they got Babe Ruth. And at no point has he gone in to the manager and said, "I'm hurting this team, take me out, or at least drop me in the order." It can be argued that if he had benched himself or batted 8th or 9th, the Yankees might actually be in the wild card race and not just mathematically barely alive.
Whoa, can you believe it, guys? The 40-year-old's numbers are down. And, Olbermann brought up a lot of fun Jeter facts that only Olbermann knows, including the fact that Derek Jeter actually makes the lineup every day. I don't know if you knew that. I didn't either, but Olbermann fun facts. Oh, this one was enraging. Are you serious right now? How the fuck do you know, what Jeter says to Girardi or what he requests? The organization's making so much money and baseball's making so much money and Jeter's just going for the ride. And, Cal Ripken did this. What was it? He slugged 361 with a 276 on base percentages last season, and I don't remember Olbermann, getting on his high horse, talking shit about Ripken, completely being a disrespectful fucking asshole about it.
Gehrig took himself out of the lineup when he got sick. DiMaggio and Mantle both quit rather than stink at 36.
This one was funny. He applauded Lou Gehrig for retiring when he got diagnosed with ALS. Yeah, that's really amazing. And this is how much of a lie. The guy's smart, so he's not an idiot, so that makes him a liar. He brings up Mantle retiring when Mantle fell off. Mantle's last season was worse than Jeter's, and he was also, a drunk. I think that everybody knows that, which I think personally makes him cooler, but, he was worse than Jeter in his last season. He was a drunk. He was riddled with injuries. But, Olbermann's just going to make things up. Whatever.
This is the captain of the Yankees? All right. Jeter's the king of New York. I forgot. That must be reality and not hype. If it wasn't true, they wouldn't print it on his shoes.
Hey, everybody. It's time for another Keith Olbermann fun Derek Jeter fact. Did you know that Derek Jeter actually designs his own sneakers, manufactures them, and sells them all himself? Jordan, Nike, nothing to do with it. This is Jeter doing it.
Which raises a final question. Why is the supposed Mr. Yankee not retiring immediately after his final game in New York? Why isn't he doing a Ted Williams and quitting after his final home game? Williams played his last Major League game at Fenway Park and then went home. Funny. Derek Jeter will play his last game at Fenway Park too, making a mint and making his ultimate moment of history on behalf of the Red Sox. You want to show me something, Derek Jeter? Retire after Thursday's game. Yeah, Jeets.
It's your prerogative whether you think that Jeter should play his last game in Yankee Stadium or finish the season out. It could even be cool doing it in Boston. I personally don't care, but I love how Olbermann was making a big deal about it, it makes Jeter like an asshole or a worse player. It has nothing to do with anything. And Olbermann's just in full douche mode again, as usual. God, I hate this guy, and this just put me over the top. This guy's the worst. I gotta be cliche. I gotta bring up, the intangibles of baseball, the things that stats can't represent. I'm a stat guy. I love sabermetrics. I love all that stuff. And the way Olbermann made it sound is like Jeter's just a terrible guy statistically with all the new stats. But that's bullshit. Jeter's got great stats all around, classic stats, new sabermetrics, all good. But then once again, you got to bring up the intangibles. Nobody's got better intangibles than Derek Jeter. We all know that. The Oakland play, we all know what's up with that. The guy's the best when it comes to that stuff.